You thought she was different, didn't you? She made you laugh like no one else could. Her eyes sparkled when you spoke. She leaned in when you were vulnerable, and you thought, finally, someone sees me. She told you, I want a man who's emotionally available. So you opened up, you shared your fears, your childhood scars, the dreams you barely let yourself whisper. And then she left. No warning, no conversation, just distance, cold silence. Suddenly, you're too much, too intense, too emotional. You question yourself. Was I weak? Was I wrong to trust her? And worse, will any woman ever really stay when she sees all of me? Men, listen closely. This isn't about bashing women. It's about understanding a woman who has a big reality, big dreams, big traumas, big fears, big walls, big love, and big confusion. A woman like that isn't just walking through life, she's surviving it. And when you come too close, too deep, too fast, something in her panics, and you pay the price. But if you can understand these 7 truths, not only will you stop blaming yourself, you'll start healing. You'll stop chasing validation and start attracting connection. Real, solid, soul-deep connection. So stay with me. These are the 7 facts about a woman that has a big life, heart, and past, and why she's not what she seems. You know, a lot of men think that when a woman is soft, when she's gentle, nurturing, and emotionally expressive, that it means she's open, that she's safe, that she's ready to receive. But here's the thing, and I want you to hear me on this. A woman's softness is often a decision, not a default. It's not always who she is. It's who she chooses to become in a particular moment. And many times, that softness is survival. It's a strategy. See, some women, especially those who've experienced emotional trauma or abandonment, have learned how to be soft because it makes people feel safe around them, even when they don't feel safe within themselves. And the danger comes when a man, desperate for emotional connection, mistakes that softness for security when he starts opening up, pouring himself into her, thinking she's the one who will finally see him, hold him, stay with him. But the truth is, she might not be able to hold anything at all because she's still trying to hold herself together. You're not weak for wanting a woman who listens, who's calm, who nurtures. That's natural. That's human. But you have to be wise enough to know when her softness is real and when it's just a beautifully wrapped mask. And I'm not saying she's manipulative. I'm saying she's tired. She's worn 100 masks in her life, and she's learned that being soft gets her praise, attention, safety, sometimes even love. But behind closed doors, she might be emotionally disconnected, unavailable, fragile. So don't fall for softness. Watch how she responds to discomfort. Watch how she handles your truth, not just her own. That's where her real emotional maturity lies. Not in how beautifully she speaks, not in how well she listens the first time, but in whether she can sit in the messiness of real life without shutting down or running away. Her softness is beautiful, but it's not proof she's ready. You've got to stop confusing kindness with capacity, because if you're not careful, you'll bleed out your truth into someone who was never built to hold it. And you'll think you were too much when really she was just not enough for the depth you carry. Let me tell you something that a lot of men don't realize, and it's one of the reasons so many of you walk away from relationships feeling blindsided, confused, even betrayed. It's this. There's a difference between a woman who connects and a woman who performs. See, in this world we live in, with filters, curated captions, romanticized love stories on every corner of your phone screen, a lot of women have become really good at looking like they're ready for love. They know how to text in a way that makes you feel desired. They know how to mirror your values, your dreams, even your language. She'll tell you she loves deep conversations. She'll look you in the eyes like she sees right into your soul. And you'll believe with your whole chest that this is different, that she gets you. But sometimes She's not connecting. She's performing. Not because she's cruel, not because she's out to deceive, but because somewhere along the way, she learned that performing affection, performing emotional depth, gets her the closeness she craves without having to risk the raw vulnerability that true connection demands. She's learned to play the role of the dream woman, and it works until the script changes. Because real intimacy, the kind where you open up about your fears, your wounds, your darkness, that kind of closeness requires emotional labor. It asks her to hold space, not just offer sympathy. And when that moment comes, when you need her to lean in, not for the fantasy, but for the truth, that's when the mask slips. That's when she disconnects, pulls back, becomes distant. And you're left wondering what happened to the woman who once said, "You can tell me anything." You've got to stop falling in love with her performance. Stop mistaking passion for presence. Anyone can play the role of the one when everything's going right. But ask yourself this: when life gets heavy, can she sit in that weight with you, or does she disappear? Because love, real love, isn't about who makes your heart race when things are easy. It's about who stays consistent when things get real. Connection doesn't have a script. And when the show ends, only truth remains. You may have met her at 25, maybe 30. She's beautiful, intelligent, confident, or at least that's how she presents. You tell yourself, she's mature, she's grown, she's ready. But what you don't realize is, you're not just meeting her, you're meeting every version of her that came before. And whether she knows it or not, she's still being shaped, even driven by the wounds of the girl she used to be. Listen to me. Just because someone looks whole doesn't mean they've healed. A woman can carry her childhood trauma in her smile. She can tuck abandonment issues into the curves of her body and wrap rejection wounds in expensive perfume. You might be holding her hand on your third date, but emotionally, she's still sitting alone in a room at 12 years old, wondering why her father never came home, why her first love ghosted her, why the people who claimed to care left. And here you are, calm, consistent, emotionally honest. And still, something in her flinches, something in her pulls away when you get too close. Not because of you, but because closeness feels unfamiliar, unsafe, unpredictable. See, her nervous system isn't reacting to you. It's reacting to memory. And if you're not aware of this, you'll take her silence personally. You'll internalize her distance as rejection. You'll start chasing her, fixing yourself, trying to prove your love, when really, you were never the problem. She's not broken. She's just unprocessed. She hasn't slowed down long enough to meet the younger version of herself, the one who made survival decisions she never questioned. And so every time you try to love her right, her past tells her it's a trick, a setup, a countdown to pain. And this is where many men get lost. You think consistency will earn you love. You think patience will heal her. But healing isn't something you can do for her. She has to want it. She has to choose it. She has to face the version of herself that still runs from safety because chaos feels more honest. So don't confuse resistance with rejection. Sometimes she's just trying to outrun the pain you never caused. Let's talk about her walls. Those emotional barriers that confuse you, frustrate you, maybe even make you feel like you've done something wrong. She smiles, she laughs, she lets you in. Just enough. But then, out of nowhere, she pulls back. Cold, guarded, distant. And you're left wondering, was it something I said? Something I did? But I want you to hear this clearly. Her walls are not about you. They're about what came before you. About the heartbreaks she swore she'd never feel again. The betrayals that taught her, don't trust too fast. The moments in her past when vulnerability didn't lead to love, it led to abandonment, to manipulation, to shame. So now, she builds, brick by brick, not because she wants to hurt you, but because she's scared you might hurt her. Her walls aren't weapons, they're armor. They're how she breathes when her past tries to choke her. They're how she stays standing when everything inside her tells her that letting someone in is dangerous. And here's where a lot of men go wrong. You think if you just love her harder, push a little more, break down those walls, you'll prove you're the exception. But real talk, love is not about force. It's about safety. If you're trying to tear down what she built to survive, even with good intentions, she won't feel safe. She'll feel exposed. The truth is, she wants to let you in, desperately. But she's watching. Watching if your consistency matches your words. Watching if your energy changes when she doesn't open up fast enough. Watching if you'll still choose her when her fear shows up louder than her affection. What she needs isn't someone to kick down the door. She needs someone who'll sit outside the wall and wait. Wait with patience, with presence, with peace. Not begging, not performing. Just being until she learns that she doesn't have to protect herself from you. And if she never opens the door, that's not your failure. That's her healing journey. Some people aren't ready to be met no matter how much love you bring. So bring your love, bring your truth. But never lose yourself trying to unlock someone who still believes love is a threat. Let's be real. We all crave intensity. That rush, that fire, that feeling of finally being seen, touched, understood. For many men, when you meet a woman who brings that energy, that spark, it's intoxicating. She laughs loud. She touches your soul. She pulls you into her world so fast, so fully you swear, this has to be love. But I need you to pause and ask yourself something real. Is this intimacy or is it just intensity? Because for some women, especially those who've lived through chaos, intensity feels safer than peace. Why? Because peace is unfamiliar. Peace feels slow, boring, vulnerable. Peace demands trust. And trust? That's something she's never really had the luxury to build. So when you come in, stable, emotionally present, no games, she's confused. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because her nervous system is screaming, this isn't love, this is danger. See, in her world, love came with emotional roller coasters, with pain, with adrenaline, with uncertainty. So when you don't create drama, when you don't trigger her wounds, she doesn't know what to do with that. She's learned to equate chaos with connection, passion with pain, and if it doesn't hurt, it must not be real, right? So what happens? She starts to create distance. She picks fights out of nowhere. She questions your intentions. Or worse, she disappears, and you're left holding all the love you were ready to give, wondering what the hell just happened. But listen to me, it wasn't you. It was the calm, the emotional safety you brought. That's what scared her. Because to receive that kind of love, she'd have to drop the identity she's built around survival, around always being on edge. And not every woman is ready for that. So don't chase the woman who mistakes intensity for intimacy. Don't shrink yourself to fit into her storm. You're not here to be her chaos, you're here to be her peace. And if she's not ready for that, let her go. The right woman won't run from calm. She'll recognize it as home. And trust me, home is what she's really been looking for all along. This one might sting a little. But I have to say it because too many men are walking around feeling broken, confused, and questioning their worth over something that was never about them to begin with. And it's this. Sometimes the very version of you that a woman says she wants is the one she's completely unprepared to receive. She'll say she wants a man who's open, who listens, who's vulnerable. A man who can sit in silence with her pain, who won't run when she cries, who can handle the weight of her emotions without turning cold. She'll say that, and maybe she even believes it when the words leave her lips. But when you show up real, raw, emotionally available, something in her recoils. Why? Because it's not what she's used to. She's used to chasing love, not receiving it. She's used to inconsistency, not presence. She's used to being the one who tries harder. So when you show up fully, when you don't play the game, when you offer emotional safety instead of manipulation, you don't feel familiar. you feel foreign. And that foreign love, it scares her. So she pushes you away. Not because she doesn't feel something for you, but because she doesn't know how to feel safe in that kind of love. She's been wired to survive emotional starvation. So now that you're offering a feast, she doesn't know how to eat. She'll look for flaws. She'll question your intentions. She'll run toward the chaos she swore she was done with, because pain, at least, is predictable. And you, the good man, the kind man, the present man, you're left wondering if you were too much. But let me tell you, you are not too much. You are just too real for someone who hasn't done the work to receive real love. You do not need to dim your emotional light for someone who can only love in the shadows. You do not need to become colder just because she's not ready for warmth. Your softness is not the problem, her fear is. Let her go if she can't meet you where you are. Because a woman who's truly ready won't flinch when you finally show up. She'll say, "I've been waiting for a man like you." And she'll mean it.